I wanted to make a video mainly for me to plan, but also to share about my plans between now and the age of 40 and what I want to achieve by that point. And so hopefully going to support you in your making goals strategically. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson, and I've been selling on Amazon now, doing online arbitrage, buying low, reselling high for the last 5 years. Now in the UK, I'm a 7-figure Amazon seller, check this out, and in the USA, I'm a 6-figure Amazon seller, check this out. Now hopefully in the near future, we're going to be expanding into another marketplace, building another business, and if you're interested in learning how I'm doing it and whilst traveling the world, do hit the subscribe button down below. But hey, enough about me, let's get into the content today. Right now, as of recording this, I'm 36 years old, and I want to actually get to the point whereby I can slow down a little. Some days I work 14 hours a day, which are not great, especially if you're looking to build a family in, maybe later on in life. But also as well, I still want to keep involved with doing business. If you want to know my plan, then stay tuned. I'm going to share that all with you and what I'm thinking about doing going forward into the next kind of couple of years of my life. So let's give you a little bit of background. When I was 25, I started asking a question to myself. And I asked, if money was not a problem, let's say for example you made like £2,000 or £3,000 per month after taxes, so all your costs were covered, you're not super rich, but you've got a good amount of money, and you don't really need to worry about like housing, food, because £2,000 to £3,000 a month net is a good amount, then what would you really do? For me, I always kind of made the funny questions about maybe it's about painting on the south coast of France. Not for me, but I thought that was like a possible idea. Now, I always loved the idea of creating things, and I certainly love business, hence why I built 3 of them, but I also love learning about other people and being around that. I find that super fascinating. So I started my, entrepreneurial journey, and I made my first business. Then I shut it down, and then what happened? I then started on Amazon, which to this day I'm still doing. Now 5 years later, I've now got 3 companies, and one of which is doing 7 figures in annual revenue, and the other 2 are doing 6 figures. And across all 3 companies, we've got about 70 remote staff. And I won't lie, I'm really hands-on, but I'm pretty hands-on only in development work, not operational day-to-day. Now what does this mean? Well, quite simply, if I want to take a month off, then I can drop down my hours down to about 3 hours a week, and everything could be running smoothly. But also as well, in turn, I can also increase up to 60 to 80 hours per week if I want to. PS, if you want to know, I do really love working and building things, networking, learning, and work for me is super fun. I absolutely love it. So that gives you a little bit of background. Let's give you a framework to work from that's going to really support you in how I'm thinking about this whole question going forward. So there's kind of like a couple of steps I'll think about, and I'll outline them now, and then I'll jump into them step by step. So my first point is really have a specific goal and a realistic plan, and this is really about income. Money is the thing that we generally work towards about what do you need, and that's what I'm going to find in the first step. Step 2, I'm going to talk about work backwards. What do I mean by that? Do the math. Work out how much you need to bring it to life. Number 3, I'm going to work on, compounding actions to help me build momentum towards those goals over the long term. And even things like multiple streams of income can be an idea. Number 4, I'm going to talk about reducing costs and then investing in the rest. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about that and like my mindset on it. Number 5, I'll talk about educate yourself. Business improvements, financial money management. I'll kind of touch on that and what I'm thinking over the next couple of years. And then finally, number 6, enjoy the journey. Let's get started. So first things first, have a specific goal, a realistic plan. This includes your income. Like I said before, when I was younger, I said, look, if I had 2,000, but ideally £3,000 per month coming in net after taxes, and I think I did a quick calculation on the Listen to the Tax Man. If we were talking about £50,000 gross, which is a size of amount, more than the average wage in the UK, and also as well, if I can be location independent with some money in the bank as security, then for me personally, I'd feel pretty happy. I would have great flexibility, and I could travel the world and do what I like. And for me right now, if you say I pay myself pretty much 3,000 net per month. That's how much I get. I have money in the bank, and I do have location independence. All my companies are online, and I'm really happy with that. Now that is where I am right now, but I've got to say that is with the caveat that is with active income. What does that mean? It means I'm earning my income. So while I might only be working 3 hours per week sometimes, I'm still earning it, I'm still building. And I love that, I don't mind, but it is active. So let's be clear, the businesses that I own, they make more money than £3,000 or £50,000 per year net or gross income. That's how much I pay myself myself, and that's how much I live off pretty much, because I'm quite happy with that. I live in Mexico right now and have a wonderful quality of life. So my next step after this is to turn it from what's known as active income into passive income. Now, you might be asking, how do I do this? Turn it from active and passive, and this leads me nicely on to chapter 2, which is work backwards and do the math. What I thought about was I need 50k gross per month, 50k gross per year coming in, which is going to work out to about £3,000 net per month, and I'm pretty happy with that. Let's jump on the computer now and I'll give you a kind of idea of how much money I need to invest to generate that. If you say like a 4% yield, and I think looking at doing some research, exchange traded funds, ETFs, if you were going to put that money into the S&P 500 over a long period of time, 4% is very easily achievable. So I'm being conservative here, but we'll jump on the computer and have a look. So quite simply here, I've just kind of come onto the Vanguard website and I put 4,000 in the yield. I put in the income 50,000 per year, and admittedly it's in dollars, but we can just convert it into pounds. Calculation is the same, and it says down here you're going to need 1.25 million invested to receive an income of £50,000 per year at 4% yield. Fine. That's given me a number now, 1.25 million. And that's fantastic. Now I know the number. Now I need to work backwards. So you might ask, hey Tom, you know what? How do you get to 1.25 million pounds? So let me break that down and think about how I'm going through it. As you probably know, in my UK business right now, we do 3 million Great British pounds in sales in Amazon every year. Now we do more, but let's say for example, if I lowball it, 5% net margin. So that's how much money we get from the business every single year. So 3 million, and let's say for example, I'm going to continue doing that for the next 4 years of my life, between now 36 and 40. That's going to be, so 5% of 3 million, that's going to be 150,000 per year, and then 4 times that, 4 years, that's going to be 600,000. So I'm pretty much halfway there with just one business and the result from that. And that's not even growing, and we probably will grow that quite substantially over the next couple of years. Then the other business we've got is the USA business. Now this year we will hit 1 million, that's where we want to go, and I want to keep growing that business. So I'm hopefully going to add an extra million on each year as it grows. And you know what, we're seeing that the USA, and the reason why I say we're going to grow is because this business is doing much better margins than the UK. Now we're doing better than this, but let's say for example, we're doing 10% net margins on that. So if I did 1 million, that'd be 100,000. And I think I can increase the revenue by about 1 million every year. So 1 million, then 2 million, then 3 million, then 4 million over the next 4 years. What does that mean? It means a total revenue of 10 million, and that means that 10% net margin, well, that means that you're going to get 1 million USD in net profits. So straight away, we've pretty much reached that goal with just 2 companies. Then on top of that, we've got FastTrackFBA, the profit from that, and then also Amazon Germany, which is another one I want to make, profit on that, and maybe, hey, another business venture thereafter. So for me to make £1.25 million over the next 4 years, I feel pretty comfortable about because the numbers work out. Now, the one thing I will say is if you are interested in looking at the Amazon arbitrage business model and want to get started, do check out the FastTrackFBA Express course. This is a free course I created. I'll drop a link down below where it's going to give you 7 days to just start finding products, understanding the model, and getting some sales on Amazon. It's going to change the way you look at this business. Oh my God, show you the opportunity available. Do check it out, FastTrackFBA Express course. I'll drop a link down below. Okay, so this leads me nicely onto my third chapter, and that's really like work on compounding actions to help you build momentum towards the goal over the long term. So for me, when I'm really thinking about this, what am I thinking about? Well, look, sometimes I get lazy. Sometimes I want to go travel the world. Sometimes I want to have a break. Sometimes I'll work a lot. But I know that I can't do this on my own. And hey, when I get to 40, like I could retire, I could stop, but I still really want to do what I'm doing. And I don't want these businesses to stop. They still need to run without me. So what do I need? I need to build a team. Now that is not only to operate the business today, but also to keep the business going and growing during the next 4 years. And what I really want to make sure is that when I get to 40, I'm not like worn out, loads of gray hair dying. I feel comfortable in that, hey, I can go take some time out, enjoy like this momentous time in my life. And I want to make sure the businesses are able to keep running. So what does that mean? They need to run themselves, which is super important. That's going to compound, and that's really going to help me out over the next couple of years. Now, this leads me nicely onto my 4th chapter. Now, this is about reducing costs and investing the rest. Now, if you follow my journey, you'll know that I've been, traveling for the last 5 years, which has been great. And if you've watched closely, I've probably based myself in a lot of cheap countries where I could build my business. And 5 years ago, I left the UK. I was living in London, not particularly cheap, for Thailand, where I spent 6 months. And then I moved to Vietnam for 2 years. Vietnam is an amazing place to start, and it's super cheap as well. And it's an amazing place if you want to go somewhere, put your head down, focus, and build a business. I can really recommend Vietnam. Now, the cost of living there is super cheap. And when you want to go on holiday, every country around there is cheap to fly to and it's super amazing. For example, I went to Bali to learn to surf, and I love that. And I've been traveling across Asia. Now, right now I live in Mexico City, which probably isn't the cheapest place to live in, but I do make good money, and Great British pounds do go a long way here, and I can have a really nice quality of life. Now, you might think, hey Tom, you know what, save every penny until you hit your goal. Some people talk like that. Some people are like, don't spend anything, go out there and literally save every penny you've got until you hit that goal. And you know what, for me, I just don't like to think like that. I think life is for the living, and you should enjoy the journey. Now, if you've ever heard of something called the 7 jars principle from T. Harvey Eker, I like the idea of allocating money to different pots or areas or jars. So say, for example, right now I pay myself £3,000 per month, and certain parts of it might go into a different jar, lifestyle, reading, food, exercise, diet, travel, for example. For me, I'm not that ridiculous, but what I do say is that I've paid myself this £3,000 a month. I have got to spend it. That is my job. My job is to spend it and to live the best possible life I can. And by doing that, that allows me to, enjoy life. But when I'm not enjoying life, maybe traveling or seeing Mexico or doing something, but then also as well, I feel refreshed, I feel relaxed, and I can focus super hard on my business, doing what I need to do. I appreciate I cannot work every minute of every hour under every day and be super productive. It just doesn't happen. It's not realistic. Now, for me, if you even follow my journey, you've probably seen that, hey Tom, you've probably been on some great trips. I've done 5-star hotels, first class flights. And the one thing which I will say is all of this is on points. I am not paying for this. This is all an extra benefit, actually an extra reward of the hard work that the business gets, which isn't coming out of my budget and isn't really costing the business anything. So I can still stay in with that £3,000. So I'm pretty happy living in that lifestyle. Now, this leads me on to my 5th chapter, which is about educating yourself. I think this is really important. Business improvements, education, but also financial management. There is a great saying, it goes something like, if you can't handle 1,000, how can you expect to handle 10,000? And it's basically you've got to learn how to handle a small amount before you can handle a big amount. And I really believe it. So for me, with a plan to have, in the future, 3 7-figure companies, maybe even 4, depending on how Germany goes, I need to level up my mindset. So with that in mind, I'm trying to educate myself as much as possible. Now, I will add, this is an area that I classify technically as a business expense and not personal. Why? Because the business benefits from it, and I personally don't have to pay for it. I'm trying to network as much as possible with as many successful people as I possibly can. If you've been following my YouTube channel, I have physically gone to meet some really super successful sellers. Amazon Lit, these guys did 50 million last year, absolutely crazy. Tim Saras, he did 10 million in arbitrage, blew me out of the water. When I heard about him, I was like, I've got to meet this guy, and many, many more. And this has leveled up my mindset. Now, in addition to this, about learning and improving my Amazon business, from the best of the best who I can find and building that relationship, I also try to network with a lot of non-Amazon sellers, but also who are people, just business owners in general, because I think they have a really great mindset. Now, recently I went to a meetup whereby I met the CEO of AppSumo, and we had a chat, and I learned so much from them, but also as well the founder of Pavlok, who basically went on Shark Tank and got kicked out by Mr. Wonderful, and him and his business and how they're doing what they're doing. I think it's fascinating, and you just see so many different ideas and get new ways of working, and I think that is incredible. Now, for me, it's not only just about meeting super successful people, it's also about leveling up my mind and overcoming my own limiting beliefs. What I understand is other people have been really successful, but sometimes maybe I might feel insecure or inferior, and I need to overcome that. And for me, what I understood was that I needed a coach. I needed someone who could help me, overcome my own faults, my own internal roadblocks. And for this, I wanted the best coach I could get my hands on. For the last 2 years, I've been doing coaching with Tony Robbins' company, and I've really enjoyed it. This has not been cheap. Pretty much about $10,000, 30 sessions a year at 20 minutes per session. So it's not cheap at all. But what I will say, and if you followed my journey, it's been game changing. It has allowed me to overcome my problems or my limiting beliefs and help me scale up my businesses, my mindset, everything. And my life today is definitely improved dramatically, even with just a short period of time. But it has been a real investment. And I think I will continue doing that going forward, meeting people, networking, business owners, and continue coaching, because I'm seeing the results today, and my God, I'll see it tomorrow. Now, the 6th and the final chapter I'll talk about really is about enjoy the journey. I do work 14, 15, 16-hour days sometimes, but I think it's really important not to work yourself into the ground. Network with like-minded people, follow your dream, but don't get caught caught up in what they want. You know, for me, like I do work 15 hours a day sometimes, then I can go take 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week or 2 weeks off and do something else. Like I'm willing to work super hard because I know I've got a break coming up, because I know I want to do something in the future. And I think the real goal for me is like, I want to wake up every day and feel like I've had a fulfilled life, a fulfilled day. And I appreciate I've only got one life. I need to make the most of it. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's only work. There's a lot of other things. So I can really look at like synergies, things which are working, which can help me out. The thing for me I say here is like, enjoy the journey. And I see so many people posting like on social media, love the grind, work hard. And I get this, I really do. But it's okay to enjoy a percentage of the results on the journey today. And I think that's about recognizing the hard work we're doing. And you know, there are just some things you can't do when you're older or they're harder, like, but I can do that now. So I need to take advantage of this. I'm working super hard, 14, 15, 16-hour days sometimes, but also as well, my loved ones, the people I care about and who care about me, they get to come on this journey with me and reap some of the rewards, which I think is a really important point. It isn't just about work hard, it's about enjoy the journey and bring the people with you on that journey as well. Reap the benefits when you can. Now, that is why I say you need to enjoy the life, not just work. Now, you might be wondering how to start a business and get started on, should we say, selling on Amazon. Well, what I'll do is I'll leave a video around here called How to Start an Amazon Arbitrage Business, which is pretty much how I did the whole process about 5 years ago. So do check that out. I think I really like it if you want to see the model that I'm doing. But hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson, thank you very much.